Hello, friend. It's time to restart. When Jesus spoke the Lord's Prayer, our prayer, the prayer he gave to us, he said, "For thine is the power." Now, what did he mean by that? Is power a word you would use to describe your walk along the Jesus path? Would you say you're walking in power? And what measuring stick do we use to judge that? Well, the stick I use is called obedience. There can be no power without the following of his command. There can be no power without laying aside selfish ambition and willfulness, without becoming weak about keeping ourselves at the foreground of our living. Paul states plainly, power is perfected in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I would rather boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may dwell in me. Power comes as we empty ourselves, as we learn obedience through the things which we suffer, suffering the loss of worldly esteem and privilege, in turning our individual giftedness into service for others, of learning to do without the trappings and deceptions of the earthly worldview. Peter says, "As obedient children, do not be conformed to the former lusts which were yours in ignorance." Power doesn't come in bim, bam, boom. It comes with the imperishable quality of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in the sight of God. Not weak, not timid. Paul writes to Timothy, "For God has not given us a spirit of timidity, but of" what? Power and love and discipline. Those three. You need discipline to walk with Jesus. You need love to bring compassion upon those whose paths you cross. And you need power to resist your own lusts. Power that only comes from God. Because the prayer says, "Thine is the power." We can't remedy our addictions on our own strength, and we all have addictions. We can only run with endurance when we have the power of God to enliven our mind, our will, and our emotions. We can only get power with daily submission to his authority, with obedience to his direct and clear commands to pray and study the Bible every day. How else can the power come unless we ask? But how can we ask if we're living apart from his precepts? So today, quit screwing around with your faith. Get on your knees. Get right with God. Thy will be done, yes, and for thine is the power. Thanks for tuning in to Restart. May the Lord bless you as you go.